the biggest eye-opening stat that you write on the learning game is that the average kid has to follow twice as many restrictions as an incarcerated felon. I don't know how that makes sense. I have no idea. Like you say, thinking about changing the system may be idealistic. Let's look at the reality. Why are kids treated even worse than incarcerated felons? What felony did they make? Like trying to learn, trying to use the arenero, the sandbox of school to, shoot their shot, explore their ideas. Like how did we get here, and how can we get back, Anna, to realizing that the school system, the arenero, is not built to put like this plastic bubble wrap with around their kids, which we're trying to make them safe, but paradoxically it just makes them less safe. And the best way to make them safer is to make them grow with values such as courageousness, integrity, conscientiousness, all of these themes that you touch on. So to boil it down, how can we switch from these rules, they follow so many restrictions, to removing the bubble wraps and paradoxically make them a bit more safer?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a question that I have too. I think that ironically, we want to, like, the original purpose of school was, to teach kids to become independent and to learn how to solve problems on their own and to think for themselves and, a lot of these things. But we have over-engineered lesson plans and curriculums and teacher involvement to a point where all that thinking and all that creativity and all that critical thinking is really happening on the administrator side and the people that are doing the lesson plans and the people that are actually organizing and creating the curriculums. And it's gotten to the point where we've masticado, just really watered things down to a point where kids are not, they're just merely, going through the motions, following instructions and following scripts and solving textbook problems. And we've really paved the way in such a way that they think that there's just one way to succeed. And this is what everyone does. And it's become, we have a lot of conventionally minded people as a result, right? And a lot of people that don't know how to solve problems on their own because everything has been solved for them. They don't know how to be independent because they rarely get chances to do things for themselves in school. When making decisions is such an important, like knowing how to make sound decisions is such an important skill that we need to have. But if you think about it, how often do kids get a chance to make consequential decisions when they're young,
Never.
right? And again, when the stakes are low. It's very rare, right? The decisions that they make are very wishy-washy and things that they do in school that don't really matter. But I'm talking about no, if you want kids to grow up into adults that know how to make sound decisions, you need to give them practice. And so by making all these decisions for them and, sort of conducting their learning and this and that, we can't then expect for them to know how to be self-directed learners. We can't expect for them to know how to be independent and make sound decisions and know what to do when failure comes their way, because it will come their way, or what to do when, they're faced with conflict and with challenges, when things don't go their way. A big thing in school is that everything's so structured and everything's so predictable that when suddenly something goes out of the way, kids freak out. They don't know what to do. They become very insecure. Why? Because we've conditioned them this way. I believe that we've really turned kids very fragile in school, right? And we want to turn them into and help them become anti-fragile adults. We really have to rethink how we are spending time with them, the kind of challenges that we're giving them, and how much we intervene when they face, adversity. And so a lot of this, I talk about in my book. I have a whole chapter about how to raise anti-fragile adults. And it's something that's very difficult and very hard because we don't want to see kids suffer. We don't want to see them, when they get confused and they get frustrated. But the faster we realize that these things are actually making them stronger and are going to make them happier adults, then the faster we're going to be able to open up and give them these opportunities. Right. And so I think that schools are not really doing that because, again, they're focused on all this other stuff that I don't think is very relevant. And so really, it's the parents' job to make sure that they're getting these experiences, if not in school, then outside of school.